Did you know about the mafia as a kid?
No.
Not at all.
Serious and Sun's Outcast. I'm your host, John Livia. Please like, share, and subscribe. I know you guys are enjoying my content. I see all the views on the John Elite interview, the Gene Borello interview, and I'm really glad that you guys are enjoying my interview. I'm glad that my channel is growing, but a lot of you aren't subscribed yet. So please subscribe. Just hit that subscribe button. It's just like click. That's all it is. It really helps. It really helps when you hit the like button. It really helps when you subscribe. So please, I know you're watching, so please subscribe. But anyway, this one I had to make because I was so entertained by the Joey Merlino interview on VladTv. You know, I didn't know much about Joey Merlino because I didn't grow up in Philadelphia. I'm a New York guy, you know? But I remember in the 90s when all these things were going on, because there was like a lot of shit going on. Like you had the Colombo crime family war going on in Brooklyn and Staten Island. I remember clearly because I was living there, right? So I remember clear as day what was going on. And then there was this Philadelphia crime family war going on, allegedly between Joey Merlino and this guy John Stanford, right? So I'm watching the interview, and just to give you guys a background, like they're from Philadelphia. There was this war. They were trying to take control of the Philadelphia mafia. Okay. It's obviously not like New York where there's 5 families. There's only one. And Skinny Joey Merlino and John Stanford allegedly had this war to see who could take control. Right. But this was the best and worst interview I've ever seen at the same time. I don't know if that makes sense, but I'm going to try to explain as best as I can. It was so entertaining, but he would not, he would, he didn't know any, I don't know anything. I don't know anybody. It was almost like he was being questioned by the police or by the feds.
He was found dead in the trunk of a car.
I don't know nothing about it. I was a kid. I have no clue. All I know is he got. That was it.
Right.
I don't know nothing about that.
I don't know these people you talk about. Right. Because apparently, he never turned state's evidence. He never gave anybody up. He did his longest stint in prison was 14 years in 2001 they got him on the RICO Act, racketeering, extortion, gambling, things like that. And he did 14 years in prison. And he did a couple of years afterwards. He did a couple of years before. He spent a significant amount of time in prison, right? So the first thing is, Vlad is trying to like basically set the stage for where he comes in the Philadelphia Mafia. So he brings up the murder of Angelo Bruno. He brings up Nicky Scarfo. He brings up Phil Testa. And the whole time, Joey Merlino's going, I don't know. This was before my time. I don't know these people. And he goes, well, did you know Nicky Scarfo? Because I knew Nicky Scarfo. He was a good guy. He was a good guy.
Yeah.
Okay. So what was Nicky Scarfo like?
He was a good man. He was a man. He was a good guy.
Yeah, no problem. He did not incriminate himself whatsoever, right? But as the interview goes on, he had these one-liners that had me cracking up because he's so typical East Coast Italian. I've heard these things in the past. He's a typical Italian knockaround guy.
People get. I wasn't in. I mean, in '92. Well, I went away 89, 90.
And it was, I guess to me, it was funny because I've heard these things before. And it's always about somebody who's trying not to take the blame. And it's fucking hilarious. You have to watch it because it is entertaining, but at the same time, he doesn't tell good stories because he never turned state's evidence. So we can't tell the stories. It's anyway. All right. So, like, for example, his first arrest apparently was his first major arrest. He was in trouble a lot as a kid, but his first major arrest, apparently there was a bar fight. Somebody got stabbed. He was arrested for assault or blah, blah, blah. And then, like, he was talking about how they gave him the sentence concurrently. And he goes, I didn't know what concurrent meant. I didn't know what concurrent meant. He goes, I went to the 9th grade. What the fuck did I know? And just that alone, I started busting out, right? And I was just rolling. And then he gets out of prison. After two, they did 2 years or 2.5 years or whatever. So it's 1993. He was with his friend, and there's a drive-by. They're trying to kill him. They start shooting, so these guys start running. So they go. So Vlad goes, "So you got shot 4 times?" He goes, "No, I got shot twice in the ass." And it was just fucking hilarious, because if you guys ever remember the movie Easy Money, there's a scene where what's his name? Where Dangerfield gets shot, and he gets shot in the ass, and he's hanging upside down in the hospital room, and the doctor's going, you got a wound in the gluteus maximus, and he goes, "Doc, you're wrong. I got shot in the ass."
Put that thing away. You'll hurt yourself, will you? Look, I'm in no mood for you. In fact, there is no mood for you. Whoa!
Hey, how you doing? I heard about your unfortunate incident.
Yeah, where were you when I needed you?
Well, let's look at the chart. He was hit in the fleshy area of the gluteus maximus.
Ah, you're wrong. He got me in the ass.
Right. You got hit 4 times?
No, I got hit twice in the
And it was just like that, just knock around, funny. It was hilarious, right? So then his friend got shot, and he explains how he got shot. He said they lifted up his arm. He said he got shot here, and it went through his aorta. Then the guy wound up dying. And Vlad says to him, now, it's not funny that his friend died. Obviously, it's tragic, but it's his answers to Vlad's question. Vlad goes, "How did you feel when you find out how he died?" He goes, "I felt sick." "How the fuck would you feel if your friend died?" And it was because that's so typical of what like my father would say, what my brother would say, what guys from the neighborhood would say. It was just fucking hilarious. So apparently he also tried to there was a car bombing. So this guy, Phil Coletti, and I'm sorry, I'm looking down because I took notes, right? This guy, Phil Coletti, who said that he tried to bomb his car several times and it never went off. And they just say that. Vlad asked him about that. And he goes, "I guess he didn't know what the fuck he was doing, did he?" And it was just fucking hilarious. And then he said, "Yeah, and then his wife tried to kill me. She said that she tried putting cyanide in my drink." He goes, "This girl was so ugly, I wouldn't even talk to her." You have to watch this interview for the entertainment value only, right? So, I mean, I'm not going to give the whole thing away, but this is like one of those, you have to watch it. I mean, you got to watch it, right? So then apparently he asked him, all these people are trying to kill you. Why didn't you leave Philadelphia? He goes, "Why should I leave? I was having a good time. I'd go out. I go drink out with my friends." He goes, "I go to sporting events. I go to restaurants. I'm not going anyway." Right? And then apparently at some point there was a 500,000 bounty on his head. So now, it seems like he was like the John Gotti, if you will, on a smaller scale in Philadelphia, because he wasn't leaving. He was in everybody's face, in the media's face. He would dress nice. He would drive nice cars. And he had answers for that too. He goes, "Yeah, so I like to drive. So I like to dress nice. If that's a crime, I like to drive a nice car. It's a crime. That's a crime. Put me in jail now." Right. And it's just these typical answers that only if you're Italian, only if you're Italian American, you get, right? So apparently there was this $500,000 bounty on his head, and he was coming out of like a bar with his friends or something like that. And this, guy from the media had a camera on him, I guess a journalist or whatever, asked him, he said, "What's your response to knowing that there's a $500,000 bounty on your head?" And he goes, $500,000. Give me a gun right now. I'll shoot myself for $500,000. And according to him, the cameraman dropped the microphone. He was hysterical laughing. But it's that kind of personality that kind of makes him likable, and you want to hear more, even though he's lying.
There was a rumor that there was a $500,000 bounty on your head. And I guess a TV reporter asked you, and you said, "Give me the $500,000 and I'll shoot myself."
Yeah, I just came out of a bar. The guy dropped the microphone, the camera guy, whoever the fuck he was. I just got buried in football. I was coming out of the bar, and he said, "There's a $500,000 bounty to kill you." I said, $500,000, I'll shoot my fucking self right now for $500,000.
Right? All this stuff is obviously alleged. I don't want to say he's lying. Well, I don't want to say he's lying. All these things are alleged because he never turned state 7, so he can't incriminate himself, right? But he's entertaining enough that you do want to watch him. So then they go over the list of guys that turned state's evidence against them, and his answers for these guys. So, you know, they all these Italian gangsters, they all have nicknames, right? So the first guy goes, Pete the Crumb. He goes, yeah, the Crumb. He killed more people than cancer. He goes, yeah, that guy killed more people than cancer. He needs me to tell him who to kill? That's ridiculous. And then there was a guy named Horsehead. And he goes, oh, yeah, that beauty. And then apparently there was this guy, Ron Pavetti. These are all guys that were involved and that they turned state's evidence. Ron was an ex-cop or something to that effect. And he just calls him, he goes, yeah, Ron, that fat piece of shit. And I am watching this and I can't stop laughing. And I called my brother. I was like, you have to watch this guy, you know, because we knew who he was because of the media, but we didn't know him. He wasn't from the same neighborhood. He was from Philadelphia. We were in Brooklyn. It was hilarious. I mean, just hysterical. So you kind of, I mean, I don't know how far he's going to go. He's not on YouTube anymore. He's on Patreon, which is a paid service. It can't be that expensive. I haven't looked into it yet, how much his Patreon is, but he's entertaining to watch. And he goes off, he rips Sammy the Bull apart. He rips Michael Franchese apart. He goes, who's that other fat guy? Yeah, Ruggiano. He rips him apart. I mean, he's so entertaining to watch that, like, I'm not gonna lie, okay? I watched the whole thing in itself, and then I watched the short clips too, because it was so entertaining. But at the same time, you're not going to get good stories. You're not going to get the John Elite stories. You're not going to get the Larry Mazin stories. You know, those guys cooperated, so they can tell. You can't be tried for the same thing twice. So they can tell about the people they worked with, the murders that happened, beatings that happened, the gambling, the racketeering, and so on and so forth. They could talk about these things. You know, Ruggiano too. But you're not going to get like those kind of stories with him. You're just going to get his funny, charismatic personality, which is typical East Coast Italian. Absolutely entertaining. Now, I know I'm condoning not such a great guy, right? But I can't help it. He's just funny. He's just fucking hilarious. So go watch it. Joey Merlino on VladTv is hysterical. It's the best thing you're ever going to see. All right, guys. Remember, like, share, subscribe. I got a lot more coming up. I actually have, next month, I'm going to be having Anthony Ariel. I'm going to mispronounce his name, but everybody knows he was a made member of the Genovese faction of Springfield, Massachusetts. He's coming on. Anthony Arielata. Pretty much that's how you pronounce his name. I apologize if I got your name wrong, but he's going to be coming on next month. So like and subscribe because you don't want to miss any of this. I got good stuff coming up. All right, guys. Later. Peace.
But I didn't get locked up for like a year later.